What's going on? So for this week, we really focused on USD CAD. Everything that you're about to see, just like the last video, is all in real time. It's all being taught on the right side of the chart. So hopefully you really enjoy it and you get some breakthroughs. And if you do, please go ahead and give me a like at the bottom of your screen. And then also, if you'd wish to, you can follow me at Instagram at 7_sources. And I do a pretty good job of responding if you have questions about the markets and stuff like that. So, like I said, hopefully you enjoy and see you next time. USD CAD. I am interested in this. You have this down candle. We stretched up, left imbalance, and then we filled the imbalance. On the 4 hour, this is that same imbalance, and we filled that. This candle right here, like I said, I have my alarm here. I am paying attention to that area. I'm really interested in this particular spot. To be precise, it would be underneath, right, these lows, these wicks, and this candle. This is that candle that really pushed down, filled that imbalance in here on that 4 hour, and then same thing, that data looks like this in the daily. For this play, I do like for price to stretch up and take this high. And then looking back, it's coming in here. So we have nice high to take and nice imbalance to aim for. So I like this. I'd like to see that go higher. Maybe in the middle of the imbalance. Swoop to the high, 4-1. This was the setup from yesterday. Okay. What we could identify off of the information that we had, price expanded really fast. Okay. So, back on that volume question, this shows a lot of volume getting in the markets. Why? Because price moved so much. The area of focus was the imbalance right here. Okay, you see this wick, then you see that body close, there is no wick. And then price just yanked down into it, closing that imbalance and reversed into this down candle, this daily down candle. Remember, the bigger players are having to hedge into the markets, so they're buying into this daily candle. This is the aftermath. This is the proof. Okay, so now we start looking for plays. Okay, on the 4 hour, where is it? This is that daily move. This is that downward daily move. Okay, so that's that daily candle right here, and then price went higher. Okay, when price did go higher, this is that imbalance. What happened before when all this move happened? Price reached below lows. When price reaches above lows, price reaches, or above highs or below lows, and then really moves, those are indications that big money got in. Because when price raids a high or raids a low, it's releasing a bunch of liquidity, a bunch of orders that were pending in the market, and now it wicked into it, and then all of them became activated. We don't know how many buys or sells or what's going on, but those kind of moves really activate so many orders. Price reverses really strongly, leaves imbalance. So right here and here, not a lot of selling happened. It was all buying. Technically, it can be a 0.01 contract happened from here, and then it just filled in. We don't know. Of course, it didn't happen, but I'm just saying we don't know how many sells were available or went into this candle. All we know is that just buying took over. There wasn't a lot of selling that happened. This is important to note. This is imbalance. Price moves up, creates equal highs, tops off in this area. Okay, liquidity. Okay, remember the markets want to hurt the max amount of people. Where's everyone order sitting? A lot of people probably got sucked in for sales up there because of how equally that is. And I mean, this is on Google. Okay, they won if they took profit, but that's not the point. Okay, price reversed, went down. We got an offer into that imbalance fill. Okay, this is when we can understand what's going on. You know, you could have taken the trade back here with an imbalance fill play. Okay, but for some reason, the same way that price wicked down below this low and then rallied, for some reason it did the same thing right here. Do y'all see that? That's a low. Price went into it and reversed. Same way. There's a low. How much trading you think happened in here for retail? Ultimately to be rated out. It's the same thing. Okay, and so these are the footprints. So now we've cleared this imbalance, a point of interest to pay attention to, and we got price action that we wanted because this supports big money accumulating positions. Okay, so now we have our board of play. Liquidity is important. Where's the liquidity that's being created? That's what we pointed out yesterday. This area, if we were to draw our magical circles on it, I'll just do this. I'll start at the top of the candle. Okay, so here's our magical circles. Blue. Okay, so we sold down and bought in here where big money did. Price is ranging. It's just doing nothing. When price is ranging, that's usually when retail traders get hurt the most. Price is just ranging back and forth. People will come in here and start drawing random lines on the chart. And that's what they're using as their trend lines or whatever, which is fine. But the thing is that this is how people are judging to enter trades. Whether they do this, whether they buy off support, right? Their entry is not that good. Buy off support, something like that. That's what we're doing as price action traders, right? We're anticipating where everybody's orders are the same way that big money does, and then this is when those stop hunts come, those liquidity sweeps. Okay, and so this is our board. This is our board for the play. We had liquidity, okay, off the trend line, right? Magical 3 touches, support, okay? And remember this, not everything has to be cookie cutter picture perfect because people when they get in trades, usually they don't believe until the market is already pulling away from them. So it's like, say they want to buy here, by the time the price is up 5, 10, 15 pips, then they buy. And then they use this data that they were like, yes, I knew it was a magical support area. Then they buy here, stop loss below the low. Okay, that's how the masses trades. And so we're exploiting that. So this is the setup, right? We know that there's an intensive amount of liquidity here. And then with these magical circles, right? Think about it. If they sold down and bought into these down candles and bought here, the aftermath of buying an absurd amount of volume, price goes up, and then it skips in a certain area. This light black shaded area, this was highlighting this imbalance in this candle. So we can assume at high probability this is the last area that price did not get filled in and worked into. Okay, sold down, bought up. This is where we want to mitigate out of that sell to buy right here. So we add on buys where big money is getting out of their sells and also adding on buys. And so this is where we are now, right? So you can see how both sides of liquidity is swept. This liquidity is gone, this liquidity is gone, and this liquidity is gone. The direction is captured. Now it's all about managing it. So this is what we have so far. So right now we have imbalance. Maybe we get some kind of slow consolidation to where this can be dipped into and to add on. Okay, we don't know. Maybe it just goes, right? But with news, I would anticipate that we consolidate. We have this expansion here. This is where I'd be paying attention to for imbalance. Okay, because if price was to come back and visit this, technically it would go underneath all of this and run these lows, right? Because all of this is efficient. If it's going to take all this back, it's going to take it all back. The goal is to TP in here. That's just potential. I'll be TPing in here, above it, and then in here. So those will be the 3 spots. All right, going for that. And you got to anticipate this. Let me erase everything so you can really see it. But, this makes sense on something like FOMC week. If you've listened to some of my explanations in the past, you've heard me talk about averaging in and averaging down or up, blah, 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 but how big money is averaging into positions. And, just to continue off of what's been happening this whole week with USD CAD, you can really see it makes sense. But there was a lot of movement. Now, I'm not saying I took all of them. I had these marked up on the chart. So some of them were hesitated, some were forgotten about, but all the areas were found prior to everything. Originally, we wanted price to come up in this area, right? There's imbalance and then liquidity up here. The area that we've been paying attention to is inside this area. And, you can't just go into small time frames first. Everything that I bring in a small time frame focus comes from bigger time frames. But everything has been focusing on this area, right? And so that's what brought us into this area at the beginning of the week. Okay, and then we exploded, ran these highs, ran this obvious wick, and then fell back down, right? But we've been wanting price to come up into this area. Prior to the news, right, the area of focus yesterday was this candle, right, to add on, and then going on to smaller time frames, you had this imbalance in here. Now, of course, price ran lower, right, and it does make sense, especially when you go and you find out what happened in here. Okay, and so I'll highlight it. But FOMC came out. To me, what changed, what could happen when this candle printed earlier this morning, for this candle right here, rated these highs, filled back in this imbalance, and then fell lower, rated this area, right? So there's something significant about this spot. When you go into smaller time frames, you see the imbalance in here. That's 50% of this institutional candle, 50% of that imbalance. That's what's significant about this area. So it makes sense. Price during FOMC running this high, rating this low. Really look what it went back for, this candle. But watch when you go and you search inside that candle. Right, so this is that 30-minute down candle up move. It's focusing on the imbalance and that candle right there. And so that's where price ran to for FOMC. Was honestly really nice. and then price really pushed itself down there from this area. Institutional candles, smaller time frames. You have this candle right here on the 5-minute. This was that area that I was talking about when I talked at the beginning of the stream. So that's my play now. Um, my alarm right here is ready for just in case this was to come in here. Now I don't expect it anymore to happen. If I was to do anything, I would either be selling in here or buying, like I said, here or down there. I'm going with my bias of wanting the dollar to go higher, wanting to come in, fill this imbalance in here, and maybe it sweeps this high, maybe it doesn't. But I do like what it's looking like on higher time frames. I just like how it's printing these purchasing candles, in my opinion, like those institutional candles. It's high volume, down candle, up moves, but you can just see how they're working its way. But I still do like maybe higher, but it does go with this. So really nice to study and pay attention to. USD CAD, that was a beauty. It was uh, where it was talked about at the beginning of this week was nice if you didn't do any management of this candle. Okay, so our objective was playing in here, right, that imbalance. And then we talked about it yesterday, how this came in and filled the last bit of imbalance inside this 30-minute and then went up to our area. Okay, now how you could have managed this, because we did talk about how TPing in that area would be in the middle of this candle, right in the middle of this trading, and then above it, if we can get above it, and then into the imbalance back here. Okay, but protecting yourself, this trade was talked about on bounce back. It was really nice just watching the orders take place. But notice price coming into this area from over here. Okay, how we moved up pretty fast into that spot, and then we sold off. And then when we sold off, just look at it. Imbalance was made right here. The sell-off was so strong. Ask yourself why. From this buy, being in it, these kind of patterns right here can show you, okay, I need to start getting out. If I only took partials right here, I need to start getting out in here. Maybe this wasn't going to take this high. It could take it now. But I'm just saying, maybe this wasn't going to take that high. This kind of imbalance right here shows you a strong reaction from this point right here. Maybe it was take profiting. Maybe who knows. But for some reason, it caused that imbalance, which gets you to pay attention, right? And when we see it on smaller time frames, you can just see the magnitude of the institutional candle. It's up thrust, then it falls. Here's the imbalance. So hits that candle perfect, sells off. Who knows? We can come into this area and see if there's imbalances created to fill it in and go back up. Right, so you can see sell off, capturing liquidity, flying up. Paying attention to it because all of that comes from a higher time frame data. So perfect. So yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if this does sweep that high. So very nice. If I were you, I would go really watch. If you weren't here, this is your first stream, I'd go watch just how this played out all week.